What's up, guys? Ben here, bringing you another video today. It is Thursday morning, so you know what time it is. It's time for predictions for this week's CDL matches. I actually think this schedule this week is really good. We don't have a two-match Friday, which is nice. So let's take a look at what matches we got. I'm going to give you my thoughts on some of the bangers we have coming up this weekend. All right, so first up, let's take a look at all the green on the board for last week. I honestly, when we did the video last week, I was contemplating double pointing New York and Seattle, and I probably should have. But across that, the only match I got wrong was the Vegas LAG match, which we talked about was basically a toss-up. So a pretty good week for me as far as points go. But anyway, let's dive in for this week. As you see, a little bit of scheduling quirk this week. I have a lot of gripes with how the scheduling is being done this split. We're alternating between 2 and 3s on Friday. Saturday and Sunday will always be 3 matches. But there's like little things, for example, like if you noticed last week, Carolina played first match, last match on Friday, Saturday. They have the same problem again for Vegas. I'm curious what CDL players think of this schedule, because I do think there are some improvements they can make for the 5 week. I'm sure some of these teams are not down to only play like once a week for 4 to 5 weeks and then play double. It's just, anyway, enough of that. Let's get into matches because we have some bangers on Friday, man. The first match is a really hot one. We get the Northeast rivalry, Boston versus New York. This is obviously a Priestess revenge game. This is also an Nissim revenge game because that's one of his former teams. So a lot of spice going on here. Now, the fans have this pretty lopsided in New York's favor, and I don't know if I necessarily agree it being like 75-25, because New York haven't exactly been the most dominant team on the board. And when these two teams played earlier during the Major 1 qualifiers, it went to Game 5. So I don't think that this one is some knockout, drag out, I favor, New York to 3-0 Boston type situation. I do think that in matchups like this, where I think that teams are going to find their wins on their strong maps and we're going to grind it out, I have to go with the team that I think is going to be the better search team, which is going to be New York. So I'm going to take them in a repeat in a Game 5 heater. The difficulty for New York in this series, though, is if they do lose the S&Ds in here, I really think that I have Boston to be the better respawn team, especially because I see high-rise control getting into this series. So one to watch here, because I could see an upset in this one. And as well with the next one here, OPTIC versus Minnesota. So OPTIC actually has, and we've talked about this, they have a pretty decent run in if you're an OPTIC fan as far as W's. Like after this Rocker match, you see they play LAG, they have Carolina, Boston before they play Toronto and New York. So I think for me that this is probably the best chance of an upset of their remaining schedule before they get to the 2 really good teams at the end in New York and Toronto, because Minnesota are playing some pretty solid Call of Duty right now. I know I've said some things about Big Wake and I'm still waiting for him to step up, but he actually didn't play too bad at the major. It's just on lines, we're still waiting for him to get 4 or 5 extra kills. A map in that S&D they played last weekend was kind of rough for the decisions he was making Game 5. And I think the difficulty for OPTIC is that this Minnesota Rocker team is going to be really prepped in S&D. OPTIC usually look good in search, but they, again, strong S&D teams sometimes don't really have a plan B. They're not great at counter-adjusting mid-map. So this one could be very interesting, but OPTIC should outclass them generally in the respawns here. So I am going to take OPTIC Texas 3-1 with Rocker probably taking like a control or a map to S&D, and I may actually place a bet on one of those when I do a little bit more research, but I favor OPTIC in this one. Obviously, if they come out a little bit slow, there's definitely upset potential here, but the OPTIC guys should be good enough to grind this one out. And like I said, Friday's a banger because I actually think this last matchup is also very good. I don't think we've had this good of a 3-match Friday in a very long time. Vegas versus Miami. Look, I know that both these teams aren't amazing, but as you can see here from the fan predictions, 70-30 Miami Vegas. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Miami is a super day-to-day team and Vegas beat them at the major. So I don't quite know where the fans are going with this one. Personally, talent-wise, I'd maybe give the edge to Miami, but who knows? I really am not confident in either of these teams. And candidly, I think if Miami show up and this thing goes to Game 5, I actually have Vegas taking this one. So I think this one of the 3 is the biggest toss-up one because both these teams are super day-to-day. I know Vegas won last week against a weak team and Miami lost. I don't really know where to assess where both these teams are at, so I can see this one being quite a good one. Now, unfortunately, as we go to Saturday, I will say that I don't think this one is going to be a banger, and actually, I'm going to use one of my boosts on this one. This is Toronto versus Vegas, and I think this to be like 95. Yeah, no. This one, look, I like the Vegas boys, but Toronto is in cruise control, and Vegas is not the type of team they're going to lose to. This would be an insane upset in the world of upsets. I just don't see it. Toronto 3 over Vegas. Don't want to waste too much oxygen on that one. Nor do I really want to waste oxygen on this one because I also think this one is a pretty decent blowout for Optic versus LAG because LAG have a problem closing out maps, and it's not like they're a strong S&D team to begin with. So also seeing this one as a 3-0, don't want to waste too much time breaking that one down. All right, last up we get to, I think, a must-win for both teams point-wise, because especially if Miami loses against Vegas. LA Thieves versus the Miami Heretics. I'm very curious where the fans are on this one. 70-30 on Thieves. I think that maybe seems about correct because Thieves have been so abysmal at hardpoint as a team. It's just they're having difficulty getting wins because of that. But I feel like, I don't know, man. I really don't want to super discount Miami during this week, but I might take Thieves. I might take Thieves 3-1 in this. Well, I don't know why I feel this way. I feel like eventually Thieves have to come back to the pack on this. And Miami just as a team just are so odd. I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm getting kind of crazy with the Miami starting off 4-0 thing here, and maybe I'm wild, but screw it. Let's put Thieves 3-1 because I don't really know how to read this one. Again, I don't really know where Miami's at as a team based on last week, and Thieves like look terrible against Optic, so maybe I'm just counting on some weird Saturday magic here. I don't know. I might be a psychopath. Carolina versus Seattle. Phew. Man, where do we start with this one? Carolina definitely got out-talented last week. Seattle as a team, kind of a mess right now, but starting to get a little more practice. I don't know if I really feel confident in them this week. Probably next week, I'll feel a little bit better now they've gotten a little more practice in. And this is sort of a crazy like cross-country matchup. I assume most of this is on Carolina. Yeah. And Seattle did take it into Game 5 last time they played. I'm going to take Carolina Game 5 against Seattle. I can see it swinging the other way as well, but Carolina seems a little bit more of a practice team to me than Seattle. Don't really know what to think of the Seattle team yet, just because we haven't seen a lot of them with Brezzy. They're missing Inder. And honestly, I felt like Kyler didn't play too good last week. Booz didn't play too good. If the chem is off and those two guys aren't performing, they're going to have a tough time winning some of these series. And Boston has a couple of bangers. Same with Rocker this week. Boston-Rocker is a very good match for me. The fans have it pretty even. These teams have not played yet this year. I would say for me, the first map is kind of everything in this series because we know about Rockers kind of up and down when they lose map 1 or win map 1. I do think that I'm curious to see the vetoes on this one because Rocker have a couple auto vetoes. Boston seems to be certain maps that they want to stay with. There's sort of overlap there. So here's what we're gonna get in the pool. I can see Rio sneaking in. I don't know how to call this one. Really don't. You know, as high as he's been on Rocker, you know, there's a certain level that they're at. Who do I trust more in a Game 5 is what this comes down to. I'm going to say Rocker Game 5, but I am not very confident in that selection here, if I'm honest with you. This is such a toss-up to me and who shows up on a given day. We don't have a lot of sample size with Boston's ability with this new team. And, you know, Minnesota have played some solid COD, but obviously they're not, you know, really getting an edge against the top teams. Boston's a team. It's a good test for them. And if they lose this match, it might be just kind of cry at the top of the mid-pack. But Minnesota win this one. It's good momentum to really feel like they're sort of a top 5 team right now. And the last matchup, New York versus Atlanta FaZe. A fun one. This produced some great matches last year. My only issue is just sort of this New York team. Yeah, they're 8-3 record-wise, but are they playing like an 8-3 team? They're obviously beating teams at or below their caliber, other than losing to Carolina and Rocker and getting smoked by Toronto during the qualifiers. So this is a very good test for them to really get their season going. My concern for New York in this one is as good of an S&D team as they are. I feel like at times FaZe, especially in the middle of the season last year, kind of had a read on how they wanted to play Search. And again, this year, I just feel like FaZe probably the better Search team against these two. If you're FaZe, you probably, get rid of High Rise in this series. If you want to play them on Karachi, get rid of Karachi. If you want to play them on High Rise, Skid Row's out. Maybe New York, kind of play Terminal. Maybe FaZe get rid of Terminal, and then you end up getting some solid S&D maps for New York. I'm very curious to see how it goes, but FaZe is pretty confident on really squaring up on any Search map in the game. Control, I think FaZe is a huge edge in this one. So for me, I'm going to go FaZe 3-1 in this one. I could see it going Game 5 and FaZe taking it if New York really pull up on the day, but I think until I see more on New York's respawns, and I know FaZe is sort of weak on sub base, and I expect them to kind of take it out of the series. I just think FaZe are just sort of in a better spot right now. But again, if New York have really turned the corner as a team, they go 2-0 this week. this would be a really nice victory for them to really like start their season, because it really hasn't gotten going yet, at least from my POV. So yeah, I think in general, bro, this schedule this week, this is probably one of the best online weeks we have had in a minute, because I think like every match to me on Friday is very good. I'll be honest with you, I think Saturday is kind of a snooze except for the last match. But then I think all of the matches on Sunday are like really competitive. So we at least have two, I think, really solid days. And then Saturday just, Saturday it is what it is. So as much as I have gripes about the scheduling this year, like this weekend actually should be pretty fun as far as Call of Duty to watch. Like if you enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments what you thought of my predictions. And as always, guys, we will see you on the next one.